Hello, welcome to Venture Capital with me, Katie Pilbeam. Despite an agreement in Geneva this week between world powers over Ukraine violence, the threat of sanctions still looms over Russia. And we hear from one of Russia's most powerful businessmen who is already on the US sanction list. Plus, the ruble continues to rumble and tumble. China stokes fears of another currency war. Tim Kirby continues with his fearless approach to trading. And stay tuned to find out what is the most popular chocolate Easter egg. But first, so far, Western sanctions against Russia have been targeted at a select group of Russian individuals. One of the people chosen by US officials for the US sanction list is the head of Russian railways, Vladimir Yakunin. Venture Capital's producer Tanya Polyakova, she caught up with Mr. Yakunin in Paris for his reaction to the US blacklisting.
To put on the list a person just because they consider he is a friend of the president of Russian Federation. Crazy. This is not politics. That is some mockery of the political management. And to my mind, it is done only to introduce, we are so strong, we can name you, we can name him to be the enemy of America, and then let him course a very severe life here. Not at all. You know, I enjoy life and will enjoy the job. I enjoy good relations with the people. And you know, the only thing I am not enjoying, you know, I don't seeking any popularity. You know, I am not an actor, and I am not an actress, of course, for sure. So it is not for me, that kind of promotion. I never experienced that kind of dirty flow of information compromising myself, my family. You know, before Olympic Games, it was stated that nothing could be done. There would not be any kind of good infrastructure. Everything was stolen, etc., blah, 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 blah. Then people came there to Sochi and they were fascinated. My friends, professionals, they told me, listen, Vladimir, no any Western country could do the job for the period of time you did it. That is the answer.
Are we in information war?
That is pure, specially designed information war. Even more, some friends told me that nowadays agencies in the West, they got, listen, they cannot be given some orders, but they were given, you know, advices not to publish anything positive about Russia today. I'm not inventing anything, you know, this is true, you know, I'm telling absolutely frank. Pragmatically speaking, we are a huge and extremely interesting market for Western companies, both in Germany, in France, in Italy, in Spain. And to lose this market will be a severe blow to the economical development of the countries. Of course, Russia will suffer. Russian market will shrink, and that could be, well, imaginary, could be a very severe blow to our economy. But maybe then we will concentrate more on the development of our internal economy, the diversification of economy, which was proclaimed by the president, by the prime minister. So, you know, Russia will survive.
This week, talks in Geneva between the US, Russia, Ukraine and the EU resulted in an agreement to calm the tensions in Kiev with the disarming of all illegal groups. But the US President Barack Obama has also warned that the US and its allies will impose new sanctions on Russia if the situation does not improve. We also caught up with Jean-Pierre Thomas, French presidential representative for dealing with Russia, who told us the sanctions so far are a bad joke.
Sanctions, personal ones, are completely inefficient and very rude, and it's only because Europeans could not reach a really common position on this. I think they're completely inefficient, and to forget it. Because when you see that Narishkin, president of the Duma, has no visa, he has no sense. You know, he's a friend of France, he's president of the Comité of the Légion d'honneur in Russia, so it's a bad joke. I'm ashamed of that. That's one point. Second point it's economic sanctions. These economic sanctions, I don't think they will be efficient because in Europe we don't have common position in between the different countries. Now the solution is not that one. I am against that idea. I think that the solution is the dialogue and the diplomacy with our friend of Russia, the Ukrainian government and the United States to find a solution in Ukraine around the idea of federal state, and that's the solution. But in economy, we need Russia, and Russia needs us to develop, so that's not the target. And it's the wrong strategy for Europe, because our economy needs to develop, we need growth, we need employment, we need to export.
And the ongoing threat of continued sanctions, Russia's dependence on both the US dollar and the euro for international trade is being called into question as a result. Now, the deputy head of Russia's Bank says moves are already being made.
The Chinese currency, the RMB, have quite a good chances to become a reserve currency in a certain period of time, because they need to lift currency restrictions, which they do. I mean, the Chinese, they do it, but they do it very gradually. Of course, Russian ruble also have some perspectives, but a lot of things, I would say, a lot of depend on the Central Bank of Russia and the Russian government in general supporting this swap option. The swiftness of this transfer, of course, depends on a number of players taking these steps. I mean, the government, the central bank, and of course the companies trading and the banks servicing this trade. So it's very complicated. I think it all depends, on the swiftness of these steps taken. So personally, I don't think we're ready yet, but we're moving towards this direction.
And talking of the renminbi, China was attacked by the US Treasury this week for purposely keeping the country's currency weak to boost trade. Now, the accusation came just after official data showed China accumulated nearly $4 trillion worth in foreign exchange reserves. The storing of these reserves was accelerated in the first quarter, which has led the US to believe China's central bank is deliberately intervening to weaken the renminbi once again. Now, the Chinese currency continues to fall to its lowest level in more than a year against the US dollar. US officials are concerned that countries with an economic surplus are sucking demand out of the global economy, and this action could lead to a new currency war. And now it's time for corporate news now then. So, Aeroflot's new budget airline should be ready for takeoff in July. The company is called Dobrolot, and the first routes will be from Moscow to St. Petersburg. But as it stands, the company does not have enough planes and is awaiting another 3 Boeings. And talking of Aeroflot, after Ukraine banned the entrance of Russian men from 16 to 60 years old, the Russian airlines said that tickets would be refunded without penalty. Russia's telecom giant Rostelecom will reportedly set up a communication system in Crimea and invest $417 million. Russia's Alrosa, the world's largest diamond miner, has lost a little of its sparkle. 2013 net profit fell by 5%. The drop is largely due to the weakening ruble. Alrosa accounts for 27% of global diamond production. And staying with Russian stocks then, let's hear from Mr. Tim Kirby, our very successful in-house investor. Now, Tim, you're about 6 weeks in now. You've gained about 50% of your portfolio. That's a huge achievement. So what's happened so far? I know you landed on Sberbank last week, didn't you?
Yeah, well, what can I say? The wheel knows what to invest in. But despite the fact that Sberbank is one of the most ubiquitous businesses in Russia, it is literally everywhere, their stocks went down 1%. So I lost $216. But I'm so far ahead that's chump change. I'm not worried about it. I still have faith in the wheel. Let's see what we're going to invest all of our money into this week. Waste money. What does that mean? Waste money means I'm stuck with Sberbank, whether good or bad, for next week, and I have to blow $100 on something very stupid. So we'll see next week what I'll blow $100 on.
Wow, okay, that's fantastic. You're going to blow corporate money on whatever you fancy.
Yep, I get to spend the company money on something stupid, and believe me, it'll be stupid.
Okay, love it. Well, I hope that it's really ridiculous. I look forward to hearing about it, and I hope Sberbank performs a little bit bit better next week.
Yeah, me too.
But you're still up. You still gained about 50%.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you're still successful.
You're still
and
way
you're pretty
ahead.
confident. So, all right. Okay. Hope
Take care,
confidence
Katie.
isn't arrogance, but we'll see, won't we? All right. See you next week.
Take care.
For those of you celebrating Easter Sunday today, happy Easter. And this year, the price of cocoa beans has surged to near record highs. And that's thanks to demand from emerging markets, especially Asia. But even with the higher prices, global appetite is increasing. This Easter sales are expected to be bumped up to $12.7 billion. Germany is home to the most chocoholics in the world, and German confectioners will produce 206 million bunnies for Easter this year. And this little one here is the world's most popular chocolate egg. It's the Cadbury's cream egg, as you can see. And workers at Cadbury in Birmingham, in England, produce 1.5 million of these little bad boys a day. But with global chocolate cravings on the up, if you've managed to get hold of one of these, you need to keep hold of it and enjoy it. I'm going to go and nibble mine with a cup of tea, and I will see you next week. Enjoy your day. Goodbye.